What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 1 of 94 Feet, where KP and I are going to be talking about what's going on in the hoop world, everything hoops. That'll be on this show. How you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Thanks for starting this to me. This is gonna be a lot of fun. We got a lot of knowledge from these people.
Heck yeah, so a little background on KP. You know what, you give your background. Go ahead, KP. Who's KP?
I mean, as far as like this show is involved, I played college basketball D3 with you at Rockford University for 4 years, and then I went down south a little bit, and now I'm coaching some basketball in Illinois, Central Illinois. So good times.
Cool. Yeah, some high school basketball, right?
Yeah, high school basketball. Yep.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah. KP's also a teacher.
Mhm.
What grade do you teach?
High school. So
Oh,
I
just
know
high
it's
school.
everybody's favorite subject, but math teacher. So
Yeah.
good times.
Fair enough. Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the topics. And topic number 1 is the NBA return. And we're going to go over the format and see what KP thinks. So, just a little what's going on here is there's going to be a 22 team reset. There's going to have 9 teams from the East, 13 teams from the West. There will be 8 more seeding games, they're calling it. So they're taking what they ended with at the shutdown, adding 8 more games, and the top 8 teams will go into the playoffs, but there's a catch. If the ninth seed is within 4 games of the 8th seed, there will be a small play-in series of best of 3 where the 8th seed already has a 1-0 lead. So basically it means the ninth team has to win twice and the 8th team only needs to win once to advance into the playoffs. And then after that, it'll be a normal NBA playoffs that we're all used to, 7-game series throughout. What do you think about it?
What do you think? Oh man, I and this is really surprising. I think this is funny. That's the first topic, but I am not the biggest Jordan fan there is. But I was a very big fan of his comment when he said that he doesn't want the NBA to be gimmicky, doesn't want them to do anything different. Keep the sport how it is. Top eight, East and West. Don't do anything different. And I agree with him. I mean, I think that it needs to stay the same, and there's no reason to change it. There's no reason to mess with it. I think it's a good system. I think the 7-game series is still great. I would kind of like to see it go back to 5 games in the first round. But it works out, and it's still a very popular event. The only thing I don't like is there's uneven teams on both sides, but obviously with record and things, I mean that's going to happen, and
Yeah,
it
that was
doesn't make sense
definitely
to have.
odd. That was definitely odd that how they were going to try to make that work. Basically, give 5 teams on the West to make it, and only 1 extra team from the East. But they took everybody within 6 games
Right.
basically, because I think the Wizards are exactly
Yep.
6
Yep.
games behind Orlando, and then the Jazz I think were the lowest seed behind whoever the 8th seed was at this time. I don't remember off the top of my head, but. Yeah, so they obviously that's how they decided to do it, but it's definitely an odd way to take advantage of it. But I don't mind the system. I think it's actually kind of going to be fun. And that play-in series is going to be intense. If we get
Yeah. For sure.
if well, we definitely should get one on the West, a play-in series because there's already like 4 teams within 4 games on the
Yeah.
West. So
So I know the Blazers and the Pelicans are definitely going to fight for that last spot there for sure. And I'm excited to see it because I mean Damian Lillard's been talking. He's been I don't know if you've seen his workout videos, but that dude has been going at it. He
yeah,
is boxing, he's lifting, he's obviously shooting and dribbling and all that stuff because you have to do as a basketball player. But
yeah.
he, it's just so cool to see some of these guys and how creative they're being. Also, I mean, obviously in their $1 million mansions and different things, but their workouts have been very interesting to watch. So I'm interested and very intrigued to see who comes in and is like normal and who comes in and is just a sack of potatoes. So I can't wait for it.
Fair enough. So another part about this return is all the games are going to be held in Orlando, obviously due to the COVID-19, and there was according to the New York Times, they're reporting that people will come into the bubble, the players will come into the bubble, and they will be required to be quarantined for up to 48 hours until they receive 2 negative COVID-19 tests. And any players that leave the bubble environment would undergo a 10-day quarantine upon their return to Disney, according to ESPN. So they're basically essentially not allowed to leave once they go into the bubble, or else you're going to miss games. I guess unless you do it during training camp, but once games start, you're not allowed to leave the bubble. Because also, if you leave the bubble, if you risk if you leave the bubble, even if you come back, yeah, you're at 10-day quarantine. But I bet if you test positive, that's going to be up to a 14 day. So you're risking potentially 2 weeks that you're not coming back.
Yeah, and that could be the difference for some of these teams too. I mean, they're playing. What are they playing? They're playing back to backs. They're playing because those first 8 games are scheduled in 2 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, I think they said July 30th to like August 14th, so just
Something
over
like
2 weeks. Yeah.
So if you leave during like that time and you get quarantined for 2, well, now you're out. Like you're basically seeing injury and you're gone. Like it's so that to me, I mean, it makes sense as far as like the coronavirus and like they're worried about people getting positive for it, and obviously like Rudy Gobert and all these other players tested positive for it, and they're kind of worried about that. Donovan Mitchell, I think, was another one. But at the same time, it's like they are grown men. They know how to take care of their bodies. They are higher level athletes. I feel like they should let them a little bit of leeway. I mean, I don't know any of the playoff teams like what they would do to risk it really, because the ones that don't want to be there, that don't want to play because of health reasons, are sitting out. Avery Bradley came out a few days ago and was like, "Hey, I'm not playing. I don't care if we're first in the West or if we're in the running for the last spot. I'm not playing."
Right.
So
yeah. So let's go into that. We'll go into that a little bit. So will the NBA return because of all this stuff that's going on is the question. So obviously there's 2 reasons going on, 2 big reasons of why the NBA could be potentially canceled for this return. And this first one obviously being coronavirus. Like you touched on a couple of players that have already gotten it and are definitely anti. And the big deal is you're going to possibly be stuck for 3 months in a hotel where you are literally just doing hotel to basketball gym, back to hotel to basketball gym. Like you get 3 meals served a day at the hotel. You're not allowed to go out to eat. You're not allowed to do anything. See your family, see anybody for that matter. Like you're just going to be stuck to a hotel room or on the basketball court. And a lot of players are not feeling that. That's not something they're excited about. Avery Bradley, as you said, is definitely one of them that does not want to return due to risks of coronavirus because his son reportedly has had problems with respiratory illnesses in the past, so he does not want to get his son sick at all. And somebody also brought up a good point of, I think it actually may have been due to the NFL, but it's still a point around coronavirus, is when you test positive, where are you going to go? Like,
right.
You going to be in a hotel for 2 weeks? They're going to put you in another hotel for 2 weeks where you're staying there in quarantine, or basically some of these players may just have to end up going home and their families are just going to be at risk when they go home.
I mean, especially if you're an overseas player, like how are you going to go from staying in Orlando in a hotel and then now flights are really hard to get? I mean, obviously with the money and everything in the NBA, you can probably get a private jet, whatever it is. I mean, I'm sure they can get over there, but that's just got to cause more issues too, because like, I don't even know. Like, let's say you're from, Russia and you're from the far part of Russia, you're almost closer to China than you are to the United States or whatever. That's going to be a long flight. And if you're, sick, asymptomatic or not, I mean, I would feel kind of like a bad person for putting a person on a flight just because, hey, we told you to come over here. Now we're sending you back. So, I mean, I don't see the logic in that either.
So it's very interesting what they are going to decide to do once a player tests positive in the unit. It may literally just be they have to go home, and it is what it is. Or they're on their own.
Rosters? Yeah, what about your roster too? I mean, like if you have a player that tests positive, now can you go sign a free agent in the same position, or do you have to just wait it out? I mean, Jamal Crawford is still floating out there. If, the Lakers had any kind of brains, which I hope they do, and Avery Bradley said, "Now, go sign Jamal Crawford. He had 51 in his last game. Why would you not sign him? Like, he can still play ball." But
Yeah, it's hard to argue with 51 points.
like,
That's tough.
yeah,
But yeah, I hope they come. Like, I hope this just. It sounds like the NBA did just apparently send the players' union a full security plan that has not been released to the public, so we don't know what is in that security plan yet. But we'll see what Chris Paul and the NBA PA has to say about that once it comes out. But now there is a second reason that the NBA could see problems, which is the social justice things that are going on in the world right now. And players such as Kyrie Irving, George Hill, and Dwight Howard, and more have made comments that the NBA should not return because that would be a distraction to all of the issues going on that they were fighting for. George Hill said specifically, "I'm not going to shut up and dribble. Going to continue to fight for this." But on the flip side, that people arguing for it are saying, such as Austin Rivers had said, no, let's go. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, let's go play ball, make our money, and use our money to enact our change, right? Instead of just dropping in the thing. So,
yeah, just touch on that. I mean, that's where I see the biggest divide in the NBA. I feel like more players are less worried about coronavirus, and they're more worried about the social justice, and rightfully so. I don't want to talk about politics or anything on here, nothing like that. But some of the players' comments have been kind of confusing, where they want to support, however they're more like itching to get on the court. I feel like Steph Curry is one of them. He said, "This generation of athlete is very responsible and accountable. I'm proud to be part of the movement." Now, he said he's proud to be part of the movement, but I haven't seen anything about him going to rallies or anything like that. I haven't seen a whole lot about his support. Maybe I just haven't followed him close enough. But like his comments are kind of just up in the air about where he's at. And then Lou Williams, the Clippers six-man score, all that. In 6 weeks, the world may need some healing. They may need us to be on the. But if black kids or black adults or any adults that's dealing with police brutality are getting killed, we are still outraged. I don't know if it's our best interest to suit up. Okay, he says I don't know if it's in our best interest. Well, Lou will. If you want to affect change and you want to do that, you have the power, you have the money, you have the social status. People know you. You can figure that out. I'm sure you can. I'm sure that someone like LeBron, who is all for playing.
mm-hmm.
He wants, and it's important for him for his people are saying his legacy and all that. But he's the guy, and he kind of started it. I don't know if you remember or not. Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, LeBron, I think Dwayne Wade. I can't remember who else. They were at the ESPYs, and they all dressed in black, and they all came out there and they taught. They did that 5, 6, whatever minute speech about the same topic. I mean, it was a very similar situation: police brutality, and it's time for change.
I'm definitely on the boat of they should come back to play, and that would help further their movement.
Agreed.
Because I think, especially for like Kyrie, who obviously has had other thoughts that are kind of interesting, I think he's being a little short-sighted in the fact that the media cycle is extremely fickle. Right? Yes, the George Hill protests went on for a very long time when you compare it to other protests, right? Like this
George Floyd. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
George, you're fine. Go ahead.
All right, George Floyd, yeah.
You're good.
When these have gone on for a very long time compared to others, but by July 30th, July 31st, when you return, this could be completely out of the news. Trump bombs Syria. Now we're done. Who police what? We're maybe going into World War III right now. Who cares at this point? This, you coming back, wear a patch on your jersey that's says George Floyd. Kneel for the anthem if that's what you want to do, or if you have other things that you want to bring up. You playing is going to put more stuff back in the spotlight than you not playing. The media is going to get tired of covering the same protests every night. You can only say BLM so many times for it to be interesting on the news.
Yeah, they'll
It's
pick up a different story. They'll
yeah,
go with that. I agree, and I agree with what you're saying too about the whole like demonstrate. Where is a guy like I don't even know. Like, let's say Jared Dudley. Jared Dudley is a established veteran in this league. He's signed with the Lakers. He's going to be on, all these playoff runs or whatever is going to go on and stuff. And he's a guy that has said, I don't want to come back because I'm afraid of injury. Okay, well, you're not going to play, so you're not really worried about injury. You don't have to worry about that. But what he should be doing is he should be actually one of the ones that's figuring that stuff out, where they get the patches on the jerseys, they get those warm ups, they get that because like that's where
mhm.
he can really be useful. And we talked about LeBron, Derrick Rose. I think actually started the "I Can't Breathe" T-shirts. That was huge. I mean, that sent a message right away. Like they
Yeah,
all took off their warm ups, they threw them in the middle of the circle, and they had those shirts on. That was
mhm.
huge. I remember thinking like, wow, this one person's death affected the entirety of the NBA. Like that's when this
Yeah,
whole came up
yeah.
in my mind.
Obviously, the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
a lot more than there was protests across the globe. That it was obviously horrible what happened to George Floyd. There's no doubt about it. Like it's
right.
like even if you didn't kill him at that point, just what a hole are you
Yeah,
to sit on somebody's neck for nearly 9 minutes? And
yeah,
it's or a report maybe came out it was only nearly 8 minutes. Okay, whatever. Like it's still ridiculous amount of time to just kneel on somebody. It's absolutely
yeah,
horrible. So it's they definitely have a cause to fight for. Even there's more stuff to about that, but get back on the court. That's how this
yeah,
is going to keep being talked about. It's not going to
yeah.
continue to be talked about if you
And
don't have it on the court.
and this is not a shut up and dribble like statement. This is where you will affect change. This is where people
Yeah,
see you. Where like that's what we're talking about. We're not saying it's bad to do any of this stuff. I mean, like that's what we're saying. It's use your platform. Use
yeah.
your platform.
Fight for whatever cause you want to fight for. It's just
Yep.
it's you're not going to do it if you're not like because there's also some WNBA players talking about not coming back for the return to fight for social justice and things like that. It's like
Yeah.
okay, I mean, go ahead and what? Where's the more level of change going to come in? You going to protests or stuff like that are already going to be going on, or are you taking it to the big screen in people's living rooms and saying like, look, you want to watch us, but you're also going to hear this. So definitely
And
come
I think
back to play.
a lot of it was probably like when Kaepernick did all this, when he was kneeling for the anthem and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and he lost his starting job is what a lot of people are saying is that because of the protests he lost. Like that's pretty. I mean, I would agree with it. I think, um, but like I think a lot of NBA players and WNBA players or other professionals are scared to protest then because then now they're out of their job. Well, now it's like all these NFL owners are coming back and saying, we want him to play. If he's good enough, he should make a roster. Blah blah blah, all that stuff. Um, so I think times are changing. I think we will see when the time comes that people will report, and I think a lot of these people that are like just saying I don't want to catch the coronavirus, or I stand up for social justice and all that. All of it's very real and it's legitimate. But I think we'll see a lot of players back, and I'm hoping for it. I can't wait.
Fair enough. But who is ready to come back is the phenom Zion Williamson, who, if of course everybody knows, he got hurt last preseason, missed the first 44 games. Pelicans went 17-27 without him, but with limited minutes, they were 11-9 with a Zion Williamson. And now he is going to be fully healthy. And this is also in part because apparently there is an exceptions list the NBA put on where some hurt players were allowed to stay at the facility to continue to rehab their injuries so that they did not get put behind. And it's all signs are pointing to go. Like this guy is going to be ready to roll. So are the Pelicans with a fully healthy Zion, are they going to make a run at that 8th seed?
So this is why I think that the NBA went to this kind of format with the 13 and 9 teams. It's 100% to get Zion in the playoffs.
They
100%.
want him in there. They want him in
I
there.
think I think, and I haven't looked at the schedule. I have no idea. I don't even know if there's been a schedule released or not yet. I probably should look that up before. But I think that the Pelicans will have a tough first 2 games, and then the rest of their 6 games, I'm almost certain will be easy games where they will win, no problem. And
Well, to say
go
there's
ahead.
easy games, there is no easy games. You're only playing against the best, right? The top 22 teams instead of 30, like the 30 teams. So
Okay,
there's no
but
easy games now.
can we agree that if they play 6 out of their 8 games,
Hold on, sorry, we cut you cut out a little bit. Say that again.
would it be safe to say that if 6 of their 8 games are against the Eastern Conference, that they will have an easy schedule?
It'd be easier than playing a lot of teams in the West. I'll give you
I'm
that.
saying, like even if they played the Bucks 8 times, and the Bucks are hard, they're hard to play. But what did Zion do when he played the Bucks? He ripped the crap out of the ball from Giannis and embarrassed him. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Well, you wouldn't want to
I
play the Bucks 8 times. I don't know
no
about
no
that.
no never
Yeah.
never never. But like it's one of those things where Zion is an unbelievable athlete,
Yeah.
unbelievable, and somehow figured out how to shoot the ball because he made I don't even know how many threes that first game, 6 maybe, and
Hmm.
missed his 7th I think, or maybe he went at 6%. I don't even know, but he was on fire from 3. He had a great game, and I was so mad they pulled him out. It made no sense to me. Um,
Well, they
I guess
they
it's health.
protect the future. It's just like Jordan back in the day with that what was it, his ankle
Footer.
or
Yeah,
foot?
footing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they you have 7 minutes per half. That's it. We're protecting our future, not this season, protecting our future. And he's like, get me in the game.
Yeah.
You know. But
The
it's
one
interesting. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I was gonna switch it
I'll
up a
just
little.
say you're fine. I agree with you that he is healthy now and he's over his injuries, like the sprained knee and the ankle injury or whatever else he had going on. But the one thing about Zion has always been his weight, and you can't fake physics. Okay, this dude is 6'6", but is the third heaviest player in the NBA. That is ridiculous. There are 7-foot monsters all in the NBA,
Hmm.
and this dude is weighing as much or more than half of them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's really tough. And he's taking off from the free throw line. Like that is nuts. Think about how much power this dude is generating. I never
Yeah.
want to be anywhere near a basket when he's on the court. Um, but I think he will have a breakout playoff run.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm hoping everything stays good. Like this is what I said when he came out of college too, and people made fun of me. I said this dude is gonna be so good if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
But then a lot of people were saying, you can't take health into it, but whatever. Derrick Rose, I mean, whatever. Okay.
Of course you could take
Uh,
health into it. Yeah, that's crazy.
that's
Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, that's nuts. But I did want to say, so right now the Pelicans are 3.5 games back from Memphis, but they're only 1 game behind Portland.
mhm.
But if they get to the same wins, they break the tie because the Pelicans already have one more loss because Portland had played 2 games more during the regular season than they would now. So if they play when they play 8 more games, they will still have 2 more games. So if they end up with the same number of wins, Portland will have 2 more losses, and therefore Pelicans could get in. So clearly Portland obviously has a slight advantage because they have 1 more win, which is the most important thing. But that's 1 game, and they're in the play. Well, they're in the play-in series. Now, I think the Pelicans with a healthy Zion could beat Memphis twice in a row.
Absolutely. I think so too. I think they're a matchup problem for a lot of teams. They're very athletic at a lot of positions and they're long. I mean, Brandon Ingram's wingspan is the whole court.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball's got great vision, and he's come out a little bit, especially with Zion. Zion's the type of player Lonzo needs. He needs an athletic big that can go get lobs, can rebound with the best of them, and Lonzo, he's a tall guard anyway. He's a long, lanky guard.
Mm-hmm.
And Memphis, I mean, I know they have John Morant. I know they're solid. But I don't see them beating the Pelicans. I don't see them beating out the Pelicans for that last spot. I think it's a Pelicans and Trailblazers kind of race, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's only 1 game. Yeah, maybe both of them catch Memphis. Maybe Memphis doesn't have a good comeback, and all of a sudden you have Portland 8, Pelicans 9, and they're in the play-in series.
Yep.
Who do you have winning that?
Oh man, that's tough because I love Damian Lillard. I love him.
If what I just said, they would have the game advantage.
Yeah, and I would give it to them because they're way more experienced in the playoffs. I don't think anyone on that Pelicans team, maybe I'm wrong.
They went to the finals or the Western Conference Finals last year, right?
The Trailblazers?
Yeah.
It was Golden State and Houston, I thought, but maybe it was Portland.
No, didn't Portland beat Houston?
No. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Portland beat Houston last year, where Damian Lillard was going nuts.
Yeah, he was. Because he hit the 3 to beat OKC, and then he hit another one of the games against Houston too.
Yeah. So no, that would be a play-in series that I would like to see more than Memphis. Blank.
Yeah, right. And Memphis is, I mean, they're a small market team anyway. They're probably going to hear they probably have that small market chip on their shoulder, but at the end of the day,
But then again, as you said, Ja Morant's over there in Memphis, so I don't know. Yeah. I guess actually it's still, you know what, Memphis Pelicans might be the best matchup.
I disagree. I think you were right the first time because it would be cool to see Ja Morant and
at least the headlines would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Rookie of the Year candidates going at it for the spot, blah, blah, blah.
1 and 2.
I mean, like, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think you had it right the first time, though. Portland, I think, will give them more problems and make it a better play-in series if that's the case.
Well, I agree with that. Like, Portland, I think, is better than Memphis. I agree with you there. Yeah. But seeing those two go at it, but you also won't see them go at it because they're playing different positions, so it still wouldn't be like you're not going to get, one-on-one Zion versus Morant.
No, yeah. Unless it's a crazy switch or something or a transition.
Right, so you're not going to see that. It's not like you're going to see that matchup anyway. So I guess in that case, meh. But it still would be an interesting headline. Let's see here. Yep. All right. Well, there you go. That's Zion Williamson. Now we will go into the topic number 4, and this is interesting. I know you have heard of this before. I have not. And it is the basketball tournament. So this is awesome because this is actually going to come back before the NBA. There's a $1 million tournament, a 24-team basketball tournament that is scheduled to start on Independence Day. So July 4th, they will have a tournament starting. It's a fully quarantined 10-day single elimination tournament. So it's basically like an NCAA bracket, and it consists of a lot of alumni teams. There's just some overseas teams. There's some teams that I call fight for a cause teams, such as ALS and cancer. And there's a few more teams in there. So CP3 has a team as well. So it's a lot of alumni coming back, ex-NBA players coming back, and this is the 7th year in a row that they've held it. I've yet to hear of it. And apparently Carmen's crew, which is the Ohio State's alumni, is the reigning champion, the current number 1 overall seed, and we will be picking a bracket next week. I haven't looked into all the teams yet to see who's actually on these teams. I did see Joe Johnson was on one of them, and he was obviously a beast in the NBA when he was there. So, but I definitely am going to look into those. But what do you think about this?
I love it. So, U of I, University of Illinois, I'm a big fan of theirs, and you know that. But they always have had a team in this. I was actually looking at it right now because I can't find their team. But their website is called thetournament.com. It has every team and how many games they've won and how much money people have put into the team and different things. So there's a lot of really cool clubs and alumni groups: Syracuse, Marquette, West Virginia, and then there's even teams like NAI, teams like you were saying, different people like that are playing.
Yeah, Joe Johnson is on the number 2 overall seed, the Overseas Elite.
See, this is the thing. I love this. This is so cool to see because basically it's like saying whose all-time team would beat whose all-time team. Like, is U of I better than Ohio State all time? Well, we never knew, and really, this isn't like obviously the greatest way to do it. Probably like a simulation on a video game or something would probably be closer. But because I mean, some of these guys are 30, whatever.
Getting old.
Some
Yeah, it
of them
said
are 20,
18-year vet Joe Johnson. So
yeah,
how
like
old is he now? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And he's been out of the league 2 years maybe. So it's stuff like that. Like it just makes the game more, makes it fun.
Yeah.
When you see like the people get hyped about guarding one of their favorite players, and then they get a big stop or the clapping and all that. So it's kind of like the AAU atmosphere if you ever played AAU basketball. And
Yep, I played
U of
back
I
in the
number
day,
16.
yeah.
I love to see it. So
U of
it's
I
fun.
number 16. So
House of Pain, baby.
They're in the House of Pain, Champagne. There you go.
But yeah, they've always had strong runnings, or had a couple past, at least the last 2 years that I've seen. They've had some strong runnings. U of I has.
Yeah, sideline cancer, ALS is up there.
So it's a really fun tournament. If you get a chance to watch it, definitely watch it. It's a good time. I'm not sure what channel it'll be on this year. I don't know if it says here or not, but probably ESPN.
Yeah, I would imagine. Let's see. Does it say what channel? No. We'll talk about that. No, yes, tourney starts. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, it will be on. Cool. I mean, what else is ESPN going to show right now? There's nothing else. I mean, good God.
Dude, that Korean baseball league at 2 a.m. It's getting me. Like I'm staying up a little bit. No, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
They have stuff in the crowd. That's ridiculous.
I hate baseball anyway. The only reason I've watched baseball in the last couple years is because the Nats have been good. But outside of that, I do not watch baseball. But definitely not watching Korean baseball. Like who? I can't name you 25 players in the MLB. No chance I'm naming a player in South Korea. Not a chance. No way. What if because they came back so quickly, they became the next all the players from America was like, screw you, you guys don't know what you're doing. We're going to South Korea, and all of a sudden, all the pros are over there in South Korea. The money's not there to get those players, but it's still funny.
I'll tell you what. If that happened, I bet our population would go from 320 million down to like 160 million because all the dudes in the United States would just head out. We would be. Let me tell you, no sports here, nah, or half good sports, no way. Like we're not going for that in America. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look at the MLS.
Like, you want to talk about like a revolution? Like that'll start one right away.
Yeah. Apparently Minnesota had like 60 buildings or something that were unusable after the protests. Apparently they burned down and like damaged so many buildings. Yeah, it'd be like a nuke.
Yeah, right.
After like 60 would just be, what's left standing afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
That exactly.
That's hilarious. Well, yes, as I said, next week, look for it. We will definitely be filling out brackets, doing our research to see who's on which team and having a good time and we will be following that very closely to see how our brackets are doing. Maybe me and KP will put in a little side bet for something. Whoever has the best one. That'd be fun. But, all right. On to topic number 5. And KP has us on this one. So what we got here over at topic number 5?
So this topic's about Mikey Williams, who a lot of you guys probably know, all high school basketball at all. He's a number 1. I think he's either sophomore or freshman. He's 15 years old. That's all I really know about him. But he's number 1 in the class, and he's a very, very good basketball player. I mean, he's putting the ball between his legs and stuff and dunking. But he put out a tweet that said something about going to an HBCU doesn't sound too bad. And that's all he said. He didn't hashtag anything, didn't add any universities, nothing like that. This is a kid that was getting D1 offers from the moment he stepped on a high school court, and big name offers. But once he sent that tweet out, his AAU coach actually reached out and said publicly that there are 12 HBCU, historically black college and universities, that are reaching out to him now. There's a couple, just to name a few that I've heard of. I know for Tennessee State, North State, Texas Southern. If you don't remember, I think Norfolk State was the one that beat Duke when they were the number 15 seed, and Duke was the number 2 seed. It was a while ago.
Yeah, no, I remember them losing to the 15, but did not remember that was Norfolk State.
I'm almost certain it was Norfolk State that beat Duke, or maybe they beat Mizzou. But one time they were ranked 15th, and they ended up winning in the first round game, which was just nuts. And so like these historically black colleges, they're reaching out now, and a couple of them have said, we don't even look at these kids because they're so high profile, and we want historically we want kids that want to come to our schools because they know what our school's about. They know what our education brings them. They know all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Howard coach actually said, look, I'm not even looking at some of these kids because of that reason. I don't want to be part of his social media storm. I don't want to be part of making this kid famous by offering him, and then he just declines my offer anyway. Like, that's not what they're about.
Mm-hmm.
What a couple of former players have said, I know Mo Williams has come up and said a couple of things. Let me pull that up real quick. He said, silent protest. Pull your kids out of these D1 schools and enroll them in HBCU. We are talking about change. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Okay. I'm at Alabama State. He's the new head coach at Alabama State. Mo Williams is, and can do exactly what I'm at Alabama State, and they can do exactly what they can and more for your son. So he's saying Alabama State can give your son the opportunity, give your daughter the opportunity if you decide to go to this college, the same as Duke, the same as UNC, the same as these high-profile college programs.
So they definitely can give you the same as far as you're going to make it to the NBA if you're going to make it to the NBA.
Yeah, the exposure is the exact same. I agree. Yeah.
Right. So, but what they're not what they could, but at the moment, what they're not is giving them a chance to win a national championship at the NCAA level. Like, you're not really going to be competing very hard in March at Tennessee State or Texas Southern.
I mean, to be fair to everyone that's ever played college basketball, Pistol Pete was undoubtedly, in my opinion, he averaged 44, 45 points a game. That dude, different level in college basketball, and obviously it was the 60s or whatever it was, so it was a different type of game and stuff. But even a player like that, of that caliber, going to an HBCU, you might still not win a title because the other four guys on the court with you are just not going to be as good. They're just not.
Steph Curry made it to Sweet 16, but you went to Davidson, and they're really not going to. There's not going to win a national championship, unfortunately.
So the big part of this, and this is why I looked into this a little bit more after I kind of sent this topic to you, but the big thing here would be, and this is where I agree with Mikey Williams and players that are considering this route.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of revenue in college sports, and college basketball, college football are two of the bigger ones. When you go to these colleges, it is fiscally solid. It makes financial sense to go to these colleges if you are about that social change and that social justice, because the money that you're going to bring in as a big ticket player, even if I'm not a fan of Alabama State or Tennessee State or Norfolk State, I might go to this game just to see this kid.
If Zion Williamson goes to Tennessee State's on the map.
Every game.
Tennessee State's on the map, right?
Yeah.
It's.
That's
they're
how
on
it
the map
is.
also. Yeah.
So.
And he didn't win a national championship for Duke anyway. He should have went to Tennessee State.
Yeah, he just blew out his shoe and got hurt. Big dummy head. No, I'm just kidding.
I wasn't mad to see that. I hate Duke, so I don't hate Zion, but I hate Duke. So there you.
Yeah. And the only thing is, for this to really, really take effect and for it really to make change happen, and I really hope that one of these kids does decide to help out with the change and things if they're really passionate about it. If they're not, I don't want them to do it at all, because then people will find that out. But will this catch on with high-level recruits? I'm not sure. This kid is a unicorn. He's one in a million. And I hope I'm wrong about that. I 100% hope I'm wrong about that. But high-level recruits, I don't see a whole lot of them decommitting and then recommitting to these HBCUs. Coaches, I don't see a whole lot of coaches that are going to quit their job, like Roy Williams at UNC for however long. I don't think he's leaving to go to Alabama State. I don't think he's leaving to go to Alabama A&M or whatever it is, or Georgia A&M or whatever.
Yeah.
Any of those.
Right.
So that might be the discrepancy, and that might just put this whole thing like if one kid does it, cool, but I don't really see it catching on.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't really like I don't mind if any of these schools blow up. I really don't mind. I just don't necessarily like the idea of like I don't like when white people do it either. Like I don't like the idea of like let's put money in our race group. Like I want to keep the money in our race group. But I don't really like that mindset going into it. Even though I can understand like okay, we want to elevate the blacks or African Americans in today's society, but I personally I think that's just a bad mindset to have where it's like I'm going into it based on race, but I don't care if these kids want to go to these schools. I don't go ahead, go to these schools. It wouldn't bother me. I'm a University of Maryland fan, no matter where they go. So if they don't come to UMD, I'm still rooting for UMD. So but if you want to go there, go for it. I don't necessarily just like this reason of like I want to keep everything within my race group. Like we want to integrate. We don't want to segregate again. We don't want black people going to their schools, white people going to their schools, and start separating again. We still want to integrate, and obviously a lot of white people have been enriched off of basketball, but a lot of black people have been enriched off of basketball. Like we're all coming together into it now. There's a whole nother argument as far as the Power 5 has too much power over these players, which is like race aside, I think that could be adjusted in many ways where they have so much power over like I never liked it and I don't see why. Why have that I need to go to college for 1 year? If I'm good enough to go to the NBA out of high school, send me to the NBA. Don't make me sit here and play for free for a whole year, potential risk injury, and then I never get paid for my talents. Like
I agree with you.
It's ridiculous in my opinion.
The reason they put that rule in is more for the NBA's benefit. It's more of they don't want an NBA team taking that risk with like a number 1 overall pick because you have LeBron James. You got Michael Jordan. You got
Hold on, KP. Hold on. Let's let the. Sorry, you were just breaking up a little bit. Let's give it a second to catch up. All right, go ahead. Try it again.
Oh shit.
We lost KP, but that's all right. Let's see. But yeah, just to reiterate, I hope that these players go wherever they want to go. I would like to see the NCAA, lose the ability to say no, you have to play here for 1 year, because I despise people like John Calipari who just cheat to win. Everywhere he's gone after he's left, everything gets stripped. So I would love to see other teams get these players, groom these players, and get them to move forward. And then if you are actually good enough to go to the NBA from the get-go, just go to the NBA. Screw these colleges. Just go straight to the NBA. We'll still enjoy college basketball without you. You can go make your money here. We can keep the NCAA without making money. Like I don't care about that. So, but anyway, KP's back. What were you gonna say, KP?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, my computer actually just died, so that's why I was saying that. But
turn your phone sideways.
Sideways? Like that?
See how that? No, it doesn't do that. I'm gonna fix this, but you can keep talking. Go ahead. What's up?
That's dope.
Turn it back the other way.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Okay. I see this as an opportunity for a lot of these kids and everybody. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it could go either way. If it catches on, it'll affect change and it'll do what it's supposed to do. But if it doesn't affect change and kids aren't getting as interested, or maybe the movement ends, or like how you said, like Trump bombed Syria, and now we're World War III and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of this stuff, I could see it going in favor, which would be great. And then I could see it backfiring, and the NCAA just does whatever. But the one and done rule, like I said, the whole protecting NBA teams is the big deal here. the Cavaliers when they drafted LeBron James, that could have been a bust. I mean, the Cavaliers don't have a great draft history. Like I don't even know Tristan Thompson. I mean, Kyrie Irving was great, but then he decided to leave because he didn't want to play with a great player.
But you can't. I mean, but they can still have busts in the NBA with college. I mean, Markelle Fultz. I mean, that was a number 1 pick.
I agree with you.
You know, like it's
yeah.
You still. It's not like you're guaranteed now in the way they have it to have a great player. Like I think that.
But you're more likely to have a player that you know can play at a level with the physicality of the NBA when they're going against college kids rather than going against high school kids. Because, I mean, like Taco Fall against high school kids was stupid. He's 7'6", and then he gets to the NCAA, and I'm not saying he wasn't good, but he was slower than these guys. He was not as couldn't jump obviously because he's so tall. He didn't have to jump.
Man, that's what recruiting's about, though, man. If you don't have if there's a player that's hyped up and you look at him and it's like, all right, I don't believe that he is going to be that good, then don't draft him number 1. I mean, it's a part of the whole thing.
Would you have drafted? And this is a what if? But would you have drafted Zion number 1 overall after high school?
I think so.
Okay, so he played in like the smallest. Like I don't know if you ever saw his highlight videos, but I don't remember a dude being over 6 foot tall in any of them. And I might be 100% wrong on that. I mean, because I think he won a state championship, probably multiple state championships at his high school level. So he definitely played against like high level opponents. But at the same time, I just don't see. I as an NBA exec would not draft a high school player, especially after Kwame Brown.
Well, then that's a reason for.
Just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, that's fine. But that brings up a reason to say, okay, if my stock is not saying that I'm a number 1 pick, a top 10 pick, a top 30 pick, maybe I choose to go to college for a year to build up my stock. Yeah, like you have options now, at least as a high school player. Like, okay, according to the NFL execs, I am not a pro player yet. All right, now I'll go play for a college team, have a year under my belt. Now look at me. I just, went to the Sweet 16 as the best player on my team or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I've gained 10 pounds of muscle. I've worked on my jump shot, all this kind of stuff, whatever. And now I'm a number 1 overall pick, but at least they had the option. If you are the Kobe Bryant, the LeBron James, the, list person, player here that is just ridiculous coming out of high school, go for it. Or maybe a team at number 5 gets a steal.
Yeah. No, I'm all for you, like players having that decision and making that decision. But that's why I think the rule is put in place is just to protect the teams in the league.
Oh,
and really, honestly,
100%. The rule was put in the league or put there is there's been some sort of deal with the NBA and NCAA where the NCAA wants to make money off these people for at least a year. And so they've decided to hide behind the fact of, well, we're trying to give these people schooling before they go up because they can't be a basketball player forever. Okay, well, guess what? You could go to school whenever. So if you get hurt, go to school after.
If you gave me a rookie NBA contract right now, as a teacher right now, with all of my schooling and stuff done.
Yeah.
Okay, you gave me that contract, I'm set for life. I'm not spending a dime on anything else. I could live off my teacher's salary and do whatever I could actually use my summer vacation. I could go on vacation.
What is it right now? 800K, or is it over $1 million now in the minimum?
No, I think it is like it's 750K.
Something like that. Yeah.
That money right there, like that 1 year of a rookie deal would be great for me. I mean, I would take that. Honestly, I mean, like I don't know if I wasn't so unathletic and couldn't shoot and can't dunk a ball and all that stuff. I mean, I would be a pretty good basketball player, but
awesome. Well, we have one more topic before we wrap up the show, and it is close to KP's heart, being a high school basketball coach himself. And there's obviously a lot of questions coming up on the school year. How is COVID going to affect the school year, but also all of the athletics? KP, what you got for us?
Okay. So here's my research. I'm gonna tell you from the Illinois standpoint, and I'm gonna tell you from like a national standpoint.
Uh-huh.
We have too many departments in our government that are affecting what we're trying to get accomplished right now. We have in Illinois, the Illinois Department of Public Health, as I'm sure every state has, and they are at like odds right now with our Illinois School Board of Education, and then we also have this IHSA, which is the Illinois High School Association. So basically, these three entities are supposed to work together to accomplish and put in place a plan for high school athletics.
Okay.
Well, every time that we get an update from one of them, at least one of the other two either dispute that update
contradicts
or
yeah,
and it's like I just hate it because, like, you look at this kid in the face and you tell him, like, hey, right now we can only be in groups of 10. I have to wear a mask and we can't do anything sports specific. Like, this is the rule for next week now, even, because we were supposed to get a plan today. We didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is affecting not only the coaches, because we want to put our plans out. We want to communicate and let parents know. Like, we want to make sure our summers are set. We want to make sure that everything is good for our athletes and our parents. We're communicating. We'll send something out, and then one of these departments sends something back to us like, hey, actually, we can't do that because that violates, what this group put out or this group put out. So right now, it's a very confusing, like, power grab almost for one of these systems. And I really wish I had a better answer for this, but I don't. What I can tell you is that there are a couple of things I'm scared for, like, what if we go play, because right now they're saying football's happening in Illinois. What if we go play a football game, and our conference is mostly schools that are an hour and a half, or at least an hour away. So what if we play a football game, one of our kids, gets COVID, now he's spending time on a bus with all these other players, okay? And we get back, and then we find out Saturday that 10 of our players have tested positive for COVID, and then we find out that Monday, well, now our season got shut down because some of our players got COVID from the other team. The other teams got COVID. Their season shut down. Our football team at my high school is very good. We've been to multiple state championships. We've won at least, I know, 2 of them. I think that's all. We have 2 of them in the last 15 years. Or 16 years now. I think this is 16 years. Regardless, it's there's so many question marks. And the last thing is, like, flu season. Okay, I got sick this last year for flu season. I was gone for basically 2 weeks of school. Okay, on and off, I was gone. I was very sick. I was dehydrated. I had walking pneumonia. I had the flu, all that stuff, and that put me out. Well, when this flu season comes, they're saying that colder weather is going to bring back this coronavirus. There's going to be a resurgence and all that. I have a hard time believing that if schools decide to go remote learning, that we're going to have high school basketball. I don't know how you're going to do it. How would you justify, hey, everyone in your school has to do school at home, but these 15, 30 kids, yeah, they're good. They can come to school. They can practice. They can play their games. I don't see that happening. There are some districts in Illinois and across the nation that are considering just online school all of next year already, and they're getting their plans in place to do that. That's kind of scary because kids need that interaction. Some of these kids don't have great home lives. Some of these kids don't have the technology they need to be successful at online schooling and remote learning. They're not college kids. These are 14-year-old kids that have to take 8 classes, 7 classes. It's not going to work out for them. So I'm very intrigued and interested in seeing how various states that are opening up early and earlier than others anyway, how they react. Like Texas, I think today put out that they're going to have to go back down on lockdown because they came out, or they said we're open, and then they saw a spike in their cases again. So I don't see how if we do go back to school, I don't see how every sport will get a chance, and that sucks to say, and I'm very sad to say that, but I think that's the truth, and I don't want to be somebody that lies. So that's where I'm at with it.
It's interesting because they've already made the decision that, like, shutdowns is the way they're going to go, right? So but if you think about it this way, it's like kids are very rarely affected as far as like serious illness, and it. But obviously, if they get it, then they can the scare was that they're going to give it to the elderly. So
Yep.
it's I don't know. It's definitely tough because how do you handle this in the best
Yep.
way possible? Uh,
And like
I'm
my high
hoping.
school that I'm teaching at. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just hoping that a vaccine comes out so that people, can quit worrying about what other people are doing, and we'll see what happens there. I know that there was a couple of vaccines that are getting to close to the end phases for
Yep.
their trials. I know Germany had one, England had one, but I don't know. We'll see where that goes. But I'm right there with you though, because there is going to be a surge again, right?
Yep.
Now, like, are we trying to prevent that surge? Then there's a certain set of actions we're going to have to take if the goal is to present it or to prevent it. Now, are we going to say, all right, well, we're not trying to prevent the surge necessarily. We're just trying to limit the amount of people getting it. Then that's a different set of circumstances, different set of things. Because if your goal is only to, basically not overwhelm the hospitals, then you do have to have social distancing, but it's a different set of social distancing. We're not going to stop it with what we're doing. Nothing so far is going to prevent it. Like, you need South Korea style lockdowns where they're being tracked.
Yeah.
Ankle bracelets.
Or,
I mean, they're literally putting ankle bracelets
North Korea
on people.
too.
Well, North Korea is a whole different ball game, but
they had one like case, and I guess the guy came up and just killed him. Like, that was it. They were like, you know what? We're not dealing with this. This guy's gone. And like, obviously, that's not how we want to handle it at all.
Well, that's why I'm not comparing us to North Korea.
No. And the other thing is like this. So this is the last point that I'll make on this, and I mean we can discuss it more, but
It's all good.
in a high school setting, in a college setting, okay, where students are always around each other, passing periods, classrooms. One of the original guidelines says that I, as an educator, will have to wear a mask, but my students will not have to. Okay, I'm gonna give you one thing right now. I have never in my life, like, reached out and even touched a kid on like a shoulder or I've never made contact with a kid, like, at all
During teaching.
and yeah, right. Well, ever. But I've never had to like do that. And I don't know why all of a sudden they would assume that, I'm going to get so close to a kid that I need to be the one that like has the mask on and stuff. But these kids don't. And then the other thing is like lunch periods. Right now, this next phase we're supposed to go into for Illinois says we can have 50 people doing sports-specific activities. Okay, that's the next step. That's what we're trying to get to. Sports-specific activities with 50 people. Well, for my school, even if I only have 200 kids in my school, now I have to break up my lunch hour, because if I only have 2 lunch hours that serve 100 kids each, I probably can't do that. That's a enclosed space. And they're saying, like, in Illinois anyway, we have to open up doors if we're using the weight room. We want an open airflow. Well, we can do that at the school I'm at until the winter happens. And once winter happens, we have snow on the ground. We have, cold wind breezes. We're not going to open the doors when there's, 3 inches or 4 inches of snow on the ground even. And it's below freezing. Like, that wouldn't make sense for us. So there's a lot of logistic things
Toughen
that
up, kids.
don't make sense, and it's gonna affect us. Sorry, that got to me late.
No, you're fine.
But it's definitely gonna affect like school systems all around the country, universities also. But I'm very interested in seeing how the government agencies that I talked about are going to go about implementing these plans and transitioning us back to what we consider to be normal life. And I hope so hard that we don't consider like what we're going through now as normal life, because I hate this so much. I want to go play basketball. I want to do physical activities and have fun and enjoy,
sure.
you know, the time off I have and stuff. But
All right. Well,
and obviously,
that is a show. Episode 1 in the books. We just are about to hit the hour mark. Thanks, KP, for joining me on episode 1. We'll have some fun. Thank you guys for joining us on episode 1 and watching till the end. Leave any comments down there. Subscribe to the channel. Like that video. And enjoy episode 2 when it comes out next week. We will have those brackets for you and a whole nother set of great topics. All right, KP. See you later.
see you guys.
Peace.